Lesson 6 of Chapter 3. This lesson talks about writing linear equations. So we are going to learn yet another form of an equation today. So let's start. Before we do that, let me go back to just this page. So these kind of things you should have in your notes. These are some ones that we have already learned. All right. So first of all, direct variation. Direct variation is y equals ax. You should have slope-intercept. Slope-intercept form. And that one is y equals mx plus b. Also dealing with slope, that's not really an equation, but you should also have a formula for slope, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's just something that you also need to have. So make sure you've got that one in there. We've talked about standard form briefly in the last lesson. So standard form, ax plus by equals c. So we talked a little bit about that. So today, those are all review. Now, also just on that one, I want to just point out the fact that a and m, technically, depending on what you're talking about, are the same thing. So in direct variation, they call it the constant of variation. In slope-intercept, they call it the slope. But it means the same thing. It's how much it's changing. All right? So back to this, back to today. There is something called, this is the new one. This is the point slope form. Point slope form. And this is what it looks like. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Go ahead and get that copy down. Oh my gosh, there's no way I'm ever going to learn that. Don't be saying that. We've got this. We've got it. So it looks a little bit more complicated than what it is. All right. The reason why you would need that as compared to maybe this one. What if you don't know the slope? Or what if they just give you a point and they don't give you a y-intercept? There's ways to work around it, and that's what this point slope form will help you do. So let's go back to this, back to the book. So this is the point slope form that we just talked about. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. The y1 and the x1, those are just a given point that they give you. All right, and we'll talk more about that again in a minute. And this m, that of course is the slope. All right, so if I have this example one right here, write an equation in point slope form for the line that passes through this point with a slope of 4. So basically you are filling in the blanks. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So we are filling, it's supposed to be parentheses. We are filling in the blanks. So I told you that the y1 and the x1 are basically the x and the y out of your point. So we've got y minus. That minus stays there no matter what. y1 is that 3 right there. So it's y minus 3 equals m, it tells you the slope right there, 4, times x minus, that minus stays there no matter what, a minus 2. What do you know about a minus minus 2? Minus minus should be a plus plus, so you do have to reduce it and simplify. So that is your answer. Y minus 3 equals 4, parentheses, x plus 2. Y minus 3 equals 4, parentheses, x plus 2. That's it. You are filling in the blanks. All right, let's move on to the second part of this one. It says write the slope-intercept form of the equation in example 1. So it's basically asking you to take that one that you just did and this time make it slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept form looks like this. Y equals mx plus b. So in order to get that, you need to take this and basically solve for y. Okay? So the first thing that you are going to do is you are going to distribute. That 4 is going to have to go to everything. So whenever you distribute that 4, we haven't done anything on the left yet. Y minus 3 equals 4 times x is 4x, and then 4 times 2, so plus 8. That's what it looks like so far. We are almost here. It almost looks like that. The only thing that you've got is this right here that's out of place. So how would you get rid of a minus 3? You would have to add 3 to both sides. Add 3 to both sides. So that cancels out. So I've got y equals 4x, that's a 4, 4x plus 11. Y equals 4x plus 11. Now, if you wanted to check that, you could take those points right there and you could substitute those in there and it should make it true. So y was 3 equals 4 times x is supposed to be negative 2 plus 11. So 3 equals negative 8 plus 11. So this right here is 3. 3 equals 3. That's how I know I've got the correct answer. Okay? So we substituted this information in to get point slope, and then to change point slope to slope intercept, we just had to distribute and then solve for y. Okay. I do believe that there is a practice problem here that I want you to do. Write an equation under got this, write an equation in point slope form and slope intercept form for the line that passes through negative 1, 2 and has a slope of negative 1/2. So pause it and try those, please. Okay, back with me. On A, here's what you should have got for. You should have gotten for the point slope form. Y minus 2 equals negative 1/2 parentheses x plus 1. Okay, and to take that and make it into slope intercept, you would have to distribute and then add 2 to both sides in order to get rid of that one. So you would have got for slope intercept, y equals negative 1/2 x plus 3 over 2. And you can change that to 1.5 if you wish, but you do not have to. So hopefully you got those. If not, put a big fat star on your notes and you can talk to me about that tomorrow. Okay, next part. Write a linear equation. Write a linear equation. So we've got from slope and a point, which you can make from the slope intercept, which we've talked about. You could do slope and y-intercept, so that would be the y equals mx plus b. That's your slope-intercept form. You could do from a graph. You could also get from 2 points, so you could find the slope from 2 points. That's our slope formula. Or you could use a table. So you've got lots of different tools in your toolbox now that you should be able to write an equation depending on what they give you. And that's the only reason why we have so many different forms, is if they only give you a slope and a point, you could use this one. What if they only give you a slope and a y-intercept? You could use this. If they only give you 2 points, you could use the slope formula, and then you could substitute it in there. Okay? Or you could just do the table from the beginning. So lots of different choices for you. So let's look here at example 3. It says, write an equation in point slope form. So also it's very important for you to pay attention to what it's asking you for. If it says point slope form, you need to know, which I know this is new today, but you need to learn it. That's supposed to be a 1. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Make sure you are learning those. So, and passes through both of these points. Has to pass through both of these points. So, the first thing that we don't have, which you need, is the slope. But you could get the slope from these. Remember slope formula. Y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So y2, 9. 9, come on, minus 1 over, that's 9 minus 1. So I've got negative 2 minus 8. So 9 minus 1, 8. Negative 2 minus 8. Remember, a minus is a plus a negative. So it's negative 2 plus a negative 8 is negative 10. I could reduce that to negative 4/5. So if that is negative 4/5, that is this right here. So that part I have. I also have the x because that's going to stay the same, and the y is going to stay the same. I just need the y1 that goes here and the x1 that goes here. All right? So I can pick either one of these. Not going to matter to me. You can pick the coordinates of either point to write the equation. Either point. So if I just picked this one. So y minus y1, so I could just pick that y minus 1 equals negative 4/5 x minus 8. So I could say y minus 1 equals negative 4/5 x minus 8. That is the answer to that. So I had to find out the slope first, figure out the slope first, and then do it. Okay? So I want you to try C and D. Pause it and try C and D, and I'll be back with the answers to those. Okay, answers to C and D. So if you got it correct, and if you have the slope first, oh, sorry, in the last example, I forgot to have you write it in slope-intercept, which means that we just had to move it around just like we did before. So slope-intercept was right here, and I forgot to have you do that. Hopefully you did that for both of these on C and D. If not, go ahead and pause it and try that again. All right, so for C, slope or point slope, y plus 3 equals negative 1 x minus 6. For slope-intercept, y equals negative x plus 3. For D, for point slope, y minus 2 equals negative 2 x plus 1. And then to rearrange that into slope-intercept, y equals negative 2x. Y equals negative 2x. All right, now, some of you may be wondering, what if I picked the other point? Like, obviously, this one right here, slope-intercept, I picked y, I picked this point right here. There could be multiple answers for that. If you pick this first point, you would have y minus 0 equals, the slope would be the same, negative 1, parentheses, x minus 3. Okay? That would still be the same answer for slope-intercept, but it is possible for you to have a different slope-intercept form. Sorry, point-slope form. Same way with this one. On D, they did y minus 2, so obviously they used this one. Let's say you decided to pick this one. Then your answer for point-slope would be different. Yours would say y, now minus 10, so y minus a minus 10, so that would have to be a plus. Y plus 10 equals slope would still be negative 2, parentheses, x, so that's 5, x minus 5. So that's your alternative to this point slope. Now, when you work that out, you would still get the same answer right here. Because if I did that and that, it would be y plus 10 equals negative 2x plus 10. So subtract 10 from both sides. I get y equals negative 2x. So even if I use the other point, my slope-intercept would be the same. All right? So that's up to you. So choose either point, but either way, your slope-intercept would be the same. Okay? Questions on that? Ask me tomorrow. Good luck.